can tell you, I've used the knives that I'm working with this time out. Again, I don't know how I'm cutting the video, so I've got the Blind Horse is what I'm working with right now. I've also got the Bark River Bushcrafter in 3V, and then I've got my Mora Black to kind of play around with out here. Anyway, so I found some roots. Like I said, I've got some flakes of that kind of moss lichen here in the middle, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can shave some of this debris out of here. May have to wind up doing kind of like a feather stick, sorry, kind of like a feather stick on this, and then shaving it. You can see it will come off. The spine of this knife is very, very nice. It's sharp. It throws great sparks, which I'll try here in a little bit when I get this fire going, but for scraping and things like that, the sharpness of this is very handy, and it'll obviously save your blade. You could do this with a stick or something as well, but it's helpful when you have actually a 90-degree angle on a piece of steel. So I'm going to work on this here and see if I can get a few little of these shavings to add to this. So and I'm using obviously the blade edge here to get into this, and it's making quick work of this. I've got to look up what type of tree this is when I get home. I've burned it a lot out here. It is amazing. I made an A in botany in college, but I have no idea what fauna kind of is in this area, but I'll look it up when I get home. But the great thing about whatever this is, it's gnarled. It's very, very lightweight, and it burns crazy good. And the great thing about it is the tree doesn't have to be completely dead. Parts of it will bloom and parts of this will be dry and usable. And the other good thing about it is, as you can see, now this is a very, very sharp knife. I stropped it up right before I came out here, but it's such an airy wood. It's so lightweight. It's just incredible fire starter. So every time I'm out here in the Talladega forest, near the water at least, I'm looking for this type of plant, because I know it's going to do a great job of giving me ability to make fire here. So I've said it already, I know, and I will say it again. This handle is incredibly comfortable. Let me show you this here. This roundness of it, see how it kind of rolls in my hand? I did not expect to like it as much as I do. Now, I did get this in polished. If you get the full flat grind, they send it standard with a polished finish, and I didn't kind of pay attention to it at the time. I thought about getting a Scandi, and it comes with the bead blasted, but I switched to the full flat, and I did not realize it came polished. So I did take some 80 grit sandpaper to this. I'll show you some pictures somewhere in the video of kind of the before and after that process. But this handle is very, very comfortable, especially now that I've got these little grooves added, and just very, very nice. My hands don't get tired. I can loosen my grip up if I need to. Kind of just grip toward back. Like right now, I've got a lot of tension on my pinky, and I'm letting my palm push through on the front end. So it's doing a great job. I really do like this handle. This O-Win steel so far has performed very well. I even did a rust test in my kitchen. I'm going to put several knives in the freezer for about 45 minutes just to see how the handle material was when it was cold. And the condensation formed on the blades. So I let them sit on the counter, and as they kind of thawed out, a thin coating of almost like dew basically was left on the blades, and I let them sit for about another 10 minutes. And when I came back in, the Barker Rivers in the A2 steel had developed a mild coat of, let's say, rusty colored water. When I wiped it off with a white rag, the rag was yellow. And I have to say, this kind of brushed O1 did a very good job in that regard. But I say that not so much to tell you about the metal performing under rust conditions, but to tell you that this handle was the most comfortable when cold. The pins obviously were very cold, but the handle material, despite being cold, was still easy to handle without, you know, kind of making my hands cold. So I was very pleased with that. I'll tell you more about the other knives that I compared it to, or have compared it to so far. I've done some feather sticking, a little bit of batoning, but this is the first time I've ever used them, you know, in a real setting, if you want to call it that. So let me show you what I got here. A little bit of kind of catches here, little shavings, and then like this nest of this dry root back here. And I've got a few little bitty feather sticks here. I'll probably make a few more. And I've got some dried leaves. But I'm going to look for something let's see if I can find some cattail or something along the water that will actually take the spark. So I'll be back in a little bit and see if I can get a fire going. I found some more of that wood I was telling you about. It's this really gnarled, dry stuff here. And excuse me, it's got mosquitoes everywhere. It's great for making fire, but the larger pieces are hard. Like this is almost like a leg bone, almost like a femur. And it's really, really tough. You can see the fibers in it and stuff, and it's heavy and it's strong. So I actually took it to try to collect some pine knots. I was going to see if I can get some pine knots to throw on the fire tonight to, you know, see how that goes. It's not something I've done before, but and I actually got about 4 of them. Did a good job. I just basically, I don't know if you can see here, there's some knife marks left, but I went up to the tree and kind of batoned here and here. I was striking the knife back this way up toward the tip. You can see some residue, if that'll get in focus from, it's not rust, it's actually residue from getting smashed with this thing. And it held up really well. Still very sharp. I rubbed the resin off right away so it's not sticky or anything. But I got 4 of these. We'll see how they go tonight. So experiment there, different type of batoning. But I'm back in camp now. I've started some batoning already, but I'm just going to kind of continue now and get this ready for tonight. I got some of these small pieces earlier before I had the camera on they're a little bit damp. I'm going to leave them on a rock by the fire and hope that they dry out, and then I can add them to the fire as the night goes on. But varying types of wood. There's some oak. There's a little bit of sweet gum, I guess. You name it. And I actually was able to find quite a bit of dry wood. I was surprised, actually, but I'm trying to get it smaller now. I found these already cut laying around, so I'm going to kind of split them up. Be the last one for now. show you what I got going on here. Big gap. Alright, so here is the pine knots back there. This is some of the wood I just split. Little pieces of wood, again, fire pit. Some more wood over here that I'll burn as the temperature gets warmer. And then down here is my tinder bundle, I guess. Let me adjust the camera here. And it's that nest I made earlier, but what I did is I found some tree bark. And I basically, I don't have any more of it, I don't think, or I would show you, but basically I just snapped it in between my fingers and then rubbed it dry and kind of fluffed it up in my hands, and it's kind of like now like a coconut husk sort of material, and I think that will probably take a spark. Again, I'm not quite ready to do it just yet, but I'll get a couple more feather sticks made. Again, this is just leftover from the shavings I made. I'll make a couple more feather sticks, and then we'll get this fire going. Been here making some feather sticks, little bitty ones, just to try to get my fire started here. There's another one. This is with those little bitty things I was batoning a few minutes ago. And as you can see, I've got this convex edge that I've put on it like I do on my knives, but I tried not to make the convex edge any higher up the face of the knife than like the original V edge, maybe slightly higher. This should make it pretty darn tough, and it's fairly sharp. So, and this is after batoning through a lot of pine knots and batoning all that wood I showed you a minute ago. And it's holding up really well so far. The edge retention seems awesome on it. But I'm trying to assess if I need to make this any shallower. And I'd rather not. I'd rather keep this kind of brushed finish on the knife and then just have a strong convex at the bottom. But we'll see how that goes. It's part of what the testing out here is for. And right now, just making a few little feather sticks to try to help get my fire going here a little bit. Sun's going down, so I'm going to be starting this up here in a little bit. Now on this, most of this right now is knife arm. What I mean is I'm pushing with this arm, but I'll often, like on this, I will pull the wood toward me, kind of a 50-50. Knife's still very sharp. I really am liking this Blind Horse 01. I've not tried their D2. I do have a Woodsman Pro in 01 on order, but it's probably going to be another several weeks before I get it. And then looking forward to testing that one as well. A little bit more like the Bravo in shape, but with a handle similar to this, rounded. It's got a little bit more of a pronounced guard, so really looking forward to it. So far, Blind Horse and Enzo have the best 01 that I've tried in any knives. I've tried some others in years past, but back before I was doing any of this stuff on YouTube. But this 01 has, as I have probably already stated, fairly resistant to rust. Edge retention's been very good so far. It's very sharp. I did do a little bit of feather sticking with the original V edge that came on it, and I'm not a big fan of them, V edges, and so I just put the convex on there. And if you do, you'll probably like it. I don't think it was quite as sharp as the SE V edge that I got, but it did a respectable job. I'm getting some curls off this side to add to that tinder bundle. But nice job there. Does really good at feather sticking. I've used this a lot in my backyard. May sound weird, but one of my favorite things to do to relax is just get out in the yard and feather stick. I don't know what it is. It kind of gets my mind off the day and gets me a little bit closer to where I love to be, which is out here. Let's see if I can make a feather stick on this really thin shaving I just got off here. And I'm not sure what kind of wood this is. It was already down, so it feather sticks like oak, like mildly damp oak. I have no idea for sure if that's what it is, though. Wish I could tell you. You can see it's got some give to it, so it's a little bit damp, but I think this will burn. You see it makes very thin shavings. And this is all the way up the belly of the knife. Still very sharp. Get better leverage down here at the base, though. That bendiness of the wood is making it a little bit harder for me to keep the same groove, if that makes sense. If you do a lot of feather sticking, you know what I mean, you kind of find that sweet spot on the angle of whatever it is knife you're using, whether it be a scanty, a V-edge, a convex, a asymmetrical. So, but once you find that kind of that sweet spot, you try to build some quick muscle memory, you know, and let me get some. But this flexing of this wood kind of makes it where I almost have to just treat it like I'm shaving it, like almost like carving a Thanksgiving turkey, just going after it, because that bowness, see how it bows on me, that bowing is making it a little bit tough to be consistent, but I'm still getting some good shavings off of this. There we go. Pretty good curls after a lot of heavy use. Again, just one day of use, but so far fairly pleased. I have used knives that after even just mild batoning, they're not sharp anymore, and this is definitely not the case. There's another piece of that wood. I'm wondering if it's a maple. I'm not sure. But this one doesn't flex as much, so I'm able to get heavier or get lighter. So let me put that to the side. Some of this still needs to dry out a little bit. So there we go. So we'll try to get the fire going here in a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to try to get this tinder lit right here. That's going to be the goal anyway. And I'm using just a cheap, like $5 fire steel from Dick's. I have light my fire steel there, but I'm going to try this with the kind of off the shelf type stuff and see what we can get going. All right. As you can see, it throws very good sparks. It's an awkward angle for me given where the camera is, but okay, I'm going to move some of this into here and see if it'll help, because that stuff isn't catching. Like, here we go. There we go. Or that root. You can hear that sizzling because some of that wood is certainly still wet. Morning, YouTube. Just eating a little bit of oatmeal here. Try to warm me up this morning. I'm going to be doing a lot with the fire. And just kind of burning some of the twigs I had still laying around just to give me a little bit of warmth. It's kind of cool this morning. But anyway, the knives I'm going to be looking at today is the Bark River Bushcrafter in 3V. Now, I did not excuse me. I did not reprofile this edge necessarily, but the 3V just wasn't outstandingly sharp out of the box. Good enough for a lot of things. I just like it a lot sharper, so I kept the same basic profile. I just took it to the stones to just really bring out the full potential of the 3V, at least as I see it. This is in the green matte micarta, and it has the jimping. So I'm going to have to gather more firewood today, but before I start running around doing that, I thought I'd just start the morning off with a little bit of feather sticking. The edge on this is extremely sharp. This is the first time I've used it since stone sharpening it. When I received it, I stropped it a little bit. You know, 3V is very difficult to strop. Well, it just takes a long time. And I did do a lot of feather sticking. The three knives I'm actually comparing out here, I don't say comparing is a strong term. Three knives that I am testing out looking at this trip. I was doing some feather sticking and some notching and some things back home before I left, and I just kind of stropped them back up to sharp before coming out here, but this one I did take through the full stone set. Again, nothing major, just wanting to really bring out that full potential of the 3V. You can see it doesn't struggle at all with making beautiful curls. That should be in focus there. This knife is crazy sharp, sharper than the Blind Horse Bushcrafter, but again, a different steel, a very different grind. This has that what they call that Scandi Convex or the Scandi Vex from this grind line down. And handle, I'll show you these inside compared to some other Barkies, but handle on this one so far is my favorite of any Bark River. I do really like this handle. It's thicker in the back, wide, and then it kind of swoops in here, and then it has a slight, you know, upward curve here. I could see why a lot of bushcrafters do enjoy this knife. I will say so far, It's not as quite as comfortable as the Blind Horse Bushcrafter handle. That rounded handle was just very, very comfortable, at least in my hands. But this is a very, very nice handle. You guys know that, or I've probably said in other videos, that once I've had the opportunity to test knives, I usually will sell several of them in order to get a little bit of money back on them, and then you know, purchase other knives to take a look at. But some of them, you know, obviously I do keep because they become my favorites. And if this ends up being one of them, which it has a very high probability of doing so, I'll probably hit this with some of the sandpaper, like I did the Blind Horse, just to give it a little bit of extra texture. I really do find the Bark River handles a little bit slick. Every one I've tried so far. The one that had the most grip to me, ironically enough, was the Kookaburra wood handle. Part of that had to do with the Bark River Bravo handle design, but anyway, a little bit slick, nothing detrimental. Very good when wet. 3V in that refrigerator kind of cold handle test. This micarta was colder than the sanded Blind Horse, but anyway, this I really do like this blade design for how I work anyway. As you can see, feather sticking not a problem at all. Beautiful curls, comfortable in the hand. It does fine ones as easy as it does deep ones, so very comfortable. With this design, I do feel that my hand comes forward a little bit, but it's nothing like the Canadian Special was. And I do like this jimping. Some people call it sharp. It is kind of, I like that. Got really good traction there. I do like the Aurora handle a lot for my hand size, which is not very big. You can see this compared if you're familiar with the size knife at all. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a little bit of a cold. I do like this handle a lot. I would say this one followed very closely by the Bravo one. Bravo one's a little bit thick, more locking, but this handle now kind of takes maybe top honors or a very close tie with the Bravo one in comfort. And so the Aurora moves down the ladder anyway. That happens as you experiment with more knives. You know, you find different preferences that you have from, you know, different designs. Got this done. I'm going to save this for later. I just start making a couple for tonight. Just put that to the side. Maybe start here a little bit. Anyway, outstanding knife so far. I'm going to be using it a lot this afternoon. Alright, got a few small pieces of this wood left that I found here yesterday. So I'm going to do a little bit of small batoning, and then I'll find some larger pieces here after a little bit. Let this dry out by the fire last night so it's not as damp as it was yesterday. You can see that splitting fairly clean there. Pretty tough knot in the end there too. Did a good job of getting through that. Again, gotta love 3V Steel does an outstanding job. The 01 did as well. Still pretty sharp there. A lot of gunk on the blade there, so I'm gonna try to find some more wood. Sorry I can't get the camera far enough away to show you the whole thing, but hopefully you'll see it when it comes down in that. Whoops, sorry. That one went right through a knot there. Let's see. This piece actually a little bit drier than some of the others. Again, that knot, but 3V took it in stride. Let's see if I can split this again. Try to let this dry out a little bit before I try to use it tonight. This is a semi-burnt piece I found. Looks like they had a fire in the woods a while back. That's a really heavy knot there at the end, and I'm not going to go all the way through it. No sense in attempting to wreck. I think it'll go through it, but I don't want to wreck the blade. So, yeah. I'll just keep that knot near the fire. Let it burn once it's hot. Whoa, right up against the camera. And doing a great job making very clean pieces. See if it'll go through it. Cross grain. See the 3V, very, very strong. Now, a shorter piece, most of which might be in view there. So you can see it's pretty soft, but so the edge on this is still very, very keen. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of residue on the edge from some of the sap and some other things, but overall just a wicked good edge. Right down the middle, split that one in half. Just great job. Great splitter. Very nice job. All except the most brutal thick pieces of wood, probably from which point you definitely want an axe or a hatchet, but no issues there at all. I'm going to do this last piece and then go take care of this finger. That's it. So, see, I'm constantly redecorating the wood with blood. So get that cleaned up and be back. Just going to see how the Mora Black performs. I feel like the wood's bouncing a bit more. again, seems to be holding up really well. Alright, been doing a little bit of batoning with the Mora Black here. A couple of the pieces that I was just doing here. Found some pretty dry oak. And this one's going to have a lot of knots in it, but I'm not that worried about it. This is my third Mora. Tough piece of wood. And it split it pretty well. I have the Bushcraft Force stainless, and I have one of the I think they call them the Craftsman series, which came with a terrible edge, like it wasn't very sharp at all. Hang on, I got a really tough knot here at the top. Let's see if the Mora can get through it. It did. And it was out toward the belly too. That's a tough area for the knife to work in. But really hard wood. Doing a good job. That one actually came up by here. But anyway, I have one of the industrial ones I have, one of the Craftsman. Just the edge on it was just really not sharp at all. I had to actually stone sharpen it. And again, both of those in stainless. And I love the Bushcraft Force for camping and stuff. For some of my friends are asking me about knives, and I know they don't want to spend the ridiculous amounts of money that a lot of people do on, you know, any of the brands that we're looking at, you know, Bark River, Blind Horse, Fall Niven, anything like that. I was recommending the Bushcraft Force, stainless steel, very sharp edge, really no frills design. They're just going to be doing things like preparing camp food and do a lot of car camping, I would say. You know, never too far from being able to get extra supplies. And you know, it was a great knife, but this is really moving up the ladder. This is more expensive slightly. It's thicker steel, more of it, but it's a lot tougher. It's heavier, it's robust, it throws a spark. Now the Mora 1s and 2s and the carbon steel, they'll throw them, but the stainless doesn't do a very good job, obviously. And this new one here, I've never put a Mora through the kind of beating I'm putting this one through today, and it's doing a great job. I mean, I'll be honest with you, my bug out bag, day pack, whatever you want to type of call it thing, that's just kind of ready to go on the fly, it's going to have this in it. You know, if I have time to grab one of my other ones, awesome, but if I'm in a situation and this were the only knife at my disposal, I would certainly make it work. Am I partial to Blind Horse, you know, the Essies, the Bark Rivers and things like that? Sure. Full tang. I just feel a little bit more confident with them, but there's nothing against this Mora. I just prefer the other one. But I can make this work, and I think anybody could. This is a outstanding knife by far. This is my favorite Mora yet. Not because it's traditional in any way. If you're a fan of the more traditional Mora styles, then, you know, like a Mora 1 or a Mora 2 or something like that, like Cody Lundeen likes to use, would be more your style. But this thing's tough, man. And if you have been considering a Mora, but were afraid that they wouldn't hold up to the challenge, and I would say, you know, maybe try one. I mean, you're going to spend this one, I think, on Amazon with the Fire Steel edition is like $52. It's a quarter what you're going to pay for Bark River. For example, the Bushcraft Force in 3V that I have in just a matte canvas micarta, nothing spectacular, just kind of run-of-the-mill, almost 5 times as much money. This is $223, give or take dollars, 52. You know, I prefer this one. I just do like it better. Part of it's going to be because this has a Scandi, true Scandi on it, which I got to admit is holding up really well. It's kind of on par with the Enzo, which I also really like. But I tell you what, if you had a couple bucks that you wanted to throw around to fart around with a knife, try it out. I'll show you that. I was talking about it up close. This is the Sheath, and it's very much like the stainless steel Bushcrafter, except this is black instead of green. Comes with 2 belt loops, an open top, and a sealed loop, which I prefer so it doesn't flip off. But it's got this sharpening pad right here, this kind of diamond stone or whatever it is. But this is what I was curious about. And there's this little lip right here that locks that in place, and then you kind of pull it up over that lip, and it slides out. And these kind of work. You can see there, kind of like fingers. Oh, the fire steel throws a really good spark with very, very little effort. So, you know, I really do, I'm recommending this one for sure, especially if you're in this price range. If you're in, you know, sub $100, heck, sub $75. You got to give this a try. I really do like this knife a lot. So let me grab the camera here, show you what I've been doing the last few minutes. And alright, so for tonight I've got the small pieces here that I did with the not Blind Horse, sorry, that was yesterday, the Bark River Bushcrafter. And then over here, this is basically half Bark River Bushcrafter, half Mora Black, and then I've got some stuff over here I'm going to burn, but this will do well tonight. So that's what I've been up to. Both knives handle the job really well. Sticking it now. This has gone through collecting the tree resin, the notching, the batoning, you know, pretty much all the chores that I've done so far in this video. Now I've got a piece of that wood that I split with this knife. And gonna just try to fairly soft wood here. Bark side here. Heavier curls. Push it, no problem there. And then you just back it off and let the blade do the slicing for the thinner curls. The Scandi edge does bite a little bit more than, say, a Scandi Vex or asymmetrical or true convex. But once you learn its angle, once you learn, kind of get the feel for what it's going to do, then it actually does a great job. Going all the way around this, so I don't just have one side. I got to worry about taking a spark or helping get a fire going. Alright, so I have like a little tree there, like comparison, different wood, different everything, you know, different piece of wood, different blade geometry, all that stuff, but large ribbonous curls, like big ribbony curls with the Mora. This is, I think, the same type of wood, different shape. Obviously, this is more like a plant, but this is a tighter wound, you know, feathers with the Bark River Bushcrafter. So, you know, so 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, there's slightly different, but they both do a great job. Again, big fan of this Mora Black here. This one is oak, I know. Let's see this angle. Bark on that side's tougher, but I'm just gonna hold it knife still and pull the wood toward me because of the angle I've got this camera. It's a little bit easier with this tougher piece of wood. Anyway, this is a very good job by Mora Black. So there's some feather sticks. Now, I'm gonna enjoy my soup. Back tonight.